So let me go for so we have covered data flow task, execute SQL task, okay, file system task and the XML task. Now let us go for analysis services processing task, okay. And before that we have an option, we have one more thing to cover is regarding the analysis service, okay. So we have one thing here, analysis services execute DDL task, okay. So let us see both these two today. Now let me rename this package as analysis services task. Okay. So let me give the name as analysis services task like this. Okay, now so let us, there is a dependency between these two. Okay, we have two analysis services task. One is execute DDL task. Okay, we have the analysis services execute DDL task, and another one is processing task. Okay, so what is this analysis services execute DDL task means? So analysis services means this is the cube databases. Okay, now you can see that we have the icon like a cube here, means from SSIS, okay, you can go and create a cube database using this task. Okay, we can go and create a cube database, or you can go and alter, okay, alter a cube database or drop a cube database. Okay. So that is what this is. So the databases created by SSIS solution. Okay, the databases created by SSIS solution are called as cube databases. No, so from SSIS also we can go and create them. Okay, now let us see for example what is a cube database. So we can go and see here we have one. Let me open one. So let me connect to our database. So I'm connected to my SQL Server databases. Now you can see we are connected to the SQL Server, and you can see the icons are like a cylinders. Okay. Now let us go for connect to a analysis services engine. Okay. So let me connect to the cube databases. Okay. If you select the engine type as analysis services, you can connect to a cube databases. Now you can see we are connecting to a cube databases. Okay, you can see the icon here that is little bit different, and you can go and see the list of databases. You can see the list of cube databases, and let me go for any one of the database. Let me go for the first one. Now you can see we have a cube section here, cubes folder here. So this is where I can see the cube databases. Okay, so the cube okay. So the cube, sorry for that. Yeah, the cube databases, you can see the icon here. Okay. So we have a normal SQL databases, okay, like this, and we have a cube databases. These cube databases are created using the SSIS solution. Okay. Now let us see how we can see this, how we can browse the cube data. So you can go and browse the cube data like this. Now every cube will have a fact table and the dimension tables. Okay, every table will have a Every cube databases will have a fact table and the dimension tables. Okay. Now, dimension tables are nothing but master tables in the SQL side. Okay. And fact table is nothing but a transaction table in the SQL side. Okay. In SQL side, we will have the master tables. No? So those tables are called as dimension tables in SSIS, and we will have some transaction tables, means in which we are storing the cube data. Okay, in which you are storing the sales data, sales amount and tax amount. So those tables are called as transaction tables, and those tables in SSAS they are called as fact tables. Okay, and in SSAS we can see the summarized data. You can see the summarized data. Now you can see. So this is a cube database. Okay, in which you will have the fact tables, that is measures. The fact tables are created under the measure groups. Okay, these are all the fact tables, and we can see the list of dimensions, that is master tables. Okay, so why we are creating a cube databases? In order to make the analysis very easy. Okay, now you can see under the sales, this is a fact internet sales table in the SQL side. This field contains the total sales. Okay, let us say total sales happened in that company. Okay, total sales up to now. Okay, from their starting of the company up to now, how much sales happened. Okay, so this will give me the sum of sales present in the table, sales table. Okay, now this much is the total sales. Now, using the cube database, how they will analyze is, suppose if they want the year-wise sales. Now we have one dimension called order date. So here you can go and see these are the columns for this order date dimension table. Now you can see we have an year column. So the customers can just drag and drop it. Now you can see the SSAS solution is running a query on behalf of you, is writing a query on behalf of you in the backend. Okay, and it is splitting the data based upon the year wise. Okay, this is the year wise sales. Now we have month name also is there. One of the field name is month name. You can just drag and drop. Now you can see in that year, in each month, what is the sales. Okay. So these cube databases are created by using the SSAS solution. Okay. In our SSAS classes, we are going to discuss about this, how we will create these cube databases. Okay. Now we can see the use of cube database. And suppose let us say if we don't want these details, if we want the item wise or category wise sales, you can go and see, you can just have one of the column name called category name is there. You can now go and see this Adventure Works company is selling the bikes and bikes related parts and bikes related clothing, and this is the category wise sales. Now if I want to include the subcategory details, I have one more master table called subcategory table. I can just drag and drop this column. So you can see under these bikes, there are three varieties of bikes: mountain bikes, road bikes, and touring bikes, and their corresponding sales. If they want to add the year column, they can just go and add the year column. Okay, so like this, the customer also can do the slice and dice as per his analysis. Okay, so you are not writing any query here. The cube is writing the query on behalf of you. Okay. So this is a simple example of a cube database, how it will look like and how we will browse the data. How we will browse the data like this. Okay. So these cube databases are created by using the SSAS solution. Okay. But what we are doing is by using this task, okay, by using this DDL task from the SSIS, we are still able to recreate this cube database. Okay, we are able to create this. They are telling that you can create by using this SSIS task also. Now let us see how we can create. Okay, now let us go for one of the cube. Okay, let us see how we can create. Let us go for one of the cube, and we have, instead of browse, we can go for script cube as create to new query window. Okay, so I'm going for cube script, the get the script, create script, and put it in a new query window. So now it is generating the XML code of cube database. Okay, it will generate the XML code. Okay, now you can see XML means XML code for analysis services cube. Okay, now you can see this is my database ID and this is the cube ID. Okay, now let me create this. I received the XML code of this cube databases. Of those, all the measure groups and the dimension tables, it is generating a XML file for me. Now what I will do is I will create a new cube with new name. Let me give a new name like SSIS underscore Durga, or so let us say Kerala cube. Okay, like this. You can go and give the cube name like this. Okay, so I want to create it under this AB underscore SSIS database. We have one database called AB underscore SSIS database. Okay, under this database, I want to create a new cube called. Okay, I want to create a cube called under this database. I want to create a cube called Tarala cube. SSIS Tarala. Okay, now let me take this entire code of this XML code. So copy the entire code of this XML file. Go to this and let us open this. Okay, execute DDL task. Now let us go for, after opening this, let us go for DDL section and here go to the connection, go to the new connection. Okay, create a connection to the computer running analysis services. Okay, so you can go and see that the connection is already present, replicating or not. So it is already connecting to the local host. If you want to connect, we can go on. If you want to change the connection, so you can go and edit it. You can create a connection to the cube database. Okay, so where it is present. Okay, you can, first of all, you need to create a connection to the analysis server. Okay, now let us go and specify. So I want to create a connection for this analysis services. So what is your server name? You can go and specify that my server name is, you can see Balaji-PC analysis service. Okay, so my SSIS server name also is Balaji underscore PC. You can go on, either you can give local host or you can go and give the Balaji-PC like this. Okay, now use the Windows authentication. Now let us go for which database. You can go and specify the database name also. Now let us say where you want to create a cube, which database. Yes, under this first database. Click on OK. Click on OK. Okay, so we have created a connection to the server and the database. Okay, where you want to create a queue. Okay, after creating the connection to the server name and the database name, we can go on. You can see here we have a direct input option. Now means your XML code. Okay, your cube code is in a direct or is it present in a variable or file connection. No, I have copied the XML code. No, now, whichever code I copied, I can go and let me select it as direct input. Let me go and paste it here. Whatever the XML code I have generated, no, I have copied, no, I want to paste it here. And what is your cube name? SSIS Tarala underscore cube. Okay, now click on OK. That's it. Okay, That's it. Now what we have done, first of all, we have gone to the DDL section and we have created a connection to your Cube database, Cube server and database, and I have copied the XML code of the Cube. Okay. Now let us go and execute this. Let us see it will create a Cube database or not. So let us see whether it will create one more Cube database or not. So now we can say yes, it was able to create a one more Cube database. Okay. Now let us see it is success. Now let us go and see in our database Cube database list. Let me refresh it. Okay. Now let me go to the cubes. And now you can see that a cube with name SSIS Tarala underscore cube is created. Okay. Now let us see whether we are able to browse the data or not. Now a cube is created. Now let me click on right click and click on browse. Now you can see, are we able to browse the data? Are we able to see the data? No, we are not able to see the data. Okay, so the cube database won't contain the live data. It won't contain the live data. Okay, first of all, it won't contain the live data, and when you execute this, it is going to create an empty cube here. When you are executing this, it is going to create an empty cube. Empty cube means while creating the cube, whichever tables you have selected from the SQL. Okay, so we have an SQL server. So we have an SQL server. Okay, so this SQL server is facing the performance issue. So this SQL server is facing the performance issue. So to improve the performance, what we will do is we'll go and create a cube database. We'll go and create a cube database. Okay, so while creating the cube database, we will use the SSIS solution. We will use the SSIS solution to create a cube database. Okay, so first of all, we will decide, okay, in this cube database, for which tables you want to improve the performance. First of all, we need to decide, we need to select the list of tables. Okay, we need, as per your requirement, you need to select the list of tables on which you are creating a, for which performance improvement is required and on which you are creating a cube database. Okay, so let us say this is a transaction table and this is a one of the product dimension. Okay, date dimension and category dimension like this. Okay, so when you create a cube, no, so first of all what it will do is when you click on create, what it will do is it will connect to this SQL server and it will take those tables here. It will take those tables and put it in the cube database side. Okay, and it will create a multi-dimensional cube database. Okay, your SQL is a two-dimensional and it is SSIS, it is going to create a cube database now, which is multi-dimensional. Okay, so it will take this fact table, it will take the product master table, it will take the city master, whatever master tables are there, it is a date master, it is a category master. Okay, and it will build a relationship between your fact table. This is for a transaction table and we'll call it as fact, and this all we'll call it as dimensions, and it will create a relationship between our fact table and the dimension table like this. Okay, now when you create a table, it will create only the structure. Okay, means how many columns are there in this transaction table? With those columns it is going to create an empty queue. Okay, no data, only the structure of the tables will be there. Okay, So here these tables, all these tables will have the structure but no data. Okay, when you execute this DDL task, okay, only the structure of the tables, whatever the tables we have used, for which tables we are creating a cube database, okay, so it will just get the table structure but not the data. Okay, so when it will get the data is inside the SSIS we have an option called processing option. So we have an option called processing option. So when you click on this process, okay, so when you click on this process, what will happen is this SSIS solution will fetch the data from these tables to the SSIS cube tables. Okay, so it will get the data from SQL tables and fill it the and push it to the cube database tables when you click on process option. Okay, so that's why we are not able to see the data now. You have just created a cube database, and when you go and click on process, you can see when you go and click on process we are not able to browse the data. Why? Because there is no, this cube is not yet processed. When you click on browse, now you can see we are not able to see the data. Why? Because this cube is not yet processed. Now, can we process the cube from SSIS? Yes, we can process the cube from SSIS also by using one more task called analysis services processing task. Now you can see which will fill the data for the cube database, which can fill the data for the cube database like this. Okay. Now let us see how we can process. Okay, how we can process the cube database. Let us go to this. Okay, let us open it. Now go to the processing settings. Now under which database your cube is present. Okay, my database is present on the abi underscore SSIS. Okay, in which server, in which database the cube is present, we have to select. Already the connection is there. I am reusing it. Okay, now let me go for add option. Okay, so my installation issue, one of the installation issue. So let me go for, let me take a one more. So here, due to some installation issue, it is not showing the new databases, not pointing to the new databases. Now let me show you one more thing. Let us see on which database it will go and create. Processing settings. Let me go to the new. Click on OK. Now we have the local host. Let me click on add. So it is pointing to the SSIS sample cube. No? Now let me go for last one. So let me create one more cube database under the SSIS sample database. So let us see. So because of my installation problem, earlier it was working fine. I was able to create in any place, but due to some installation problem, so I was able to create a cube under this SSIS sample one. That is the default cube database only. Now let us go and see. Let me create a query window, or yeah, let me create a script cube as to query window. Let me take this cube. Now let me give the cube name as Krishna underscore cube. We take this. Let me show it you one more time. So let me go to the DDL and let me create a connection to the local host. Okay. So I'm creating a connection under the local host means it is pointing to this database. So it is pointing to this database here, that is SSIS underscore sample1. Let me go for paste this query XML code, and let me create a new database in that particular. Let me create a new cube under this particular database. So right now, if you go and see under this, under the cubes, there is no Krishna underscore SSAS is not there. Okay. Let me go and execute this one more time. Now let us go and see whether under this SSAS sample1 database. Okay. Let me go and refresh the cubes. Okay. Now let us go to this. Yes, we are able to create a Krishna underscore cube is there. Okay. Now let me go and browse it. Now you can see we are not able to browse the data. Okay, now let me go for process it. Now in order to process it, we have one more, that is processing task is there. Now let me go to this, go to the process settings. Let me select the database name as localhost. So if I select localhost, it is nothing but it is going to create a connection to this. Inside that we have a SSIS sample database. It is going to create a connection to this server of this database SSIS underscore sample one. Okay. Now after that, let me go for add. Now you can see by default it is showing the SSIS sample one, and if I go for cubes, so let us see our cube Krishna underscore SSIS is coming or not. Now it is not coming. Let me go and create one more connection. Okay. Now let me go for localhost. Click on edit. Okay. Now localhost Windows authentication. Let me select the database name as SSIS sample1 test connection. Okay. I have edited the SSIS sample. Okay. I just recreated the connection, refreshed the connection. Okay. Now let us go and see whether it will show the new cube we have created or not. We have created the Krishna underscore cube. No? Let us go and see whether it will show me or not. Now you can see it is showing me the Krishna underscore cube. Now I want to process this cube data. Let us select that. Which cube data you want to process? Under this database, I have a cube called Krishna underscore cube. I want to process this. Okay. Now let us go and see. We have an option called click on it. So I'm selected this cube for process. Okay. Click on it. Now let us go and see whether it will get processed or not. Let me execute the task. So process means we have two options, two running after two uh, mode of options to run the data, to run the queue. One is deployment and the process. Okay. So deployment means it will just deploy the table structure, and process means it will load the data from the SQL tables to the cube database tables. Okay. Now you can see I was able to process the cube Krishna underscore cube. Now let us go and browse the cube database now. Let me refresh and go to the cubes. Now we have Krishna underscore cube here. Let me go and browse. Let us see whether we are able to view the data or not. Now you can see we are able to see the tables, fact tables and the dimension tables. And you can see that we are able to view the data. Now we have a sales amount. Now you can see we are able to view the data also. If I go for order date and let us bring back the year, I can see year wise data also. It is getting month wise data, or semester wise data, or quarter wise data, or month wise data. As per the customer wish, he can browse the data. Okay. So if you want to understand, don't worry about these cube databases. Once you attend the SSIS classes, no, it is very easy for you to understand what are measures, what are dimensions, how we can create them, and how we can interlink them, how we can create a final cube database, and how we can deploy them. All those things will be covered. This is the final product of cube database. Okay, final product of cube databases created by using the SSIS solutions. Okay, so the same thing we can create it from the SSIS solution also. Okay, but why? Why we need to create under the SSIS? If you are able to create the cubes, okay, separately from SSIS solution, and if you are able to process the cube from SSIS solution, now you can see we have one of the solution called. Let us show you some SSIS solution files. We have the SQL Server data tools. Let us show you some SSIS solution. Let us show you the processing option. Now you can see we have one SSIS Mohan solution is there. Let me open it. So now you can see that. So this is the SSIS solution using which we are able to create a dimensions, cubes, okay, all those things. You can see the folder structure. Whatever the structure you are seeing here now with the same structure. So under this SSIS Mohan, you can see whatever the structure you are seeing, the same structure will be with the same name, SSIS Mohan with the same name. One database will be present here also. So you can go and see we have one SSIS Mohan, and under this you can see the list of folders with the same structure. Under the cubes, you can see one cube is there. Okay. So with the same using the SSIS solution, okay, we are creating a databases like this. Okay. Now whatever the dimensions, you can see the list of dimensions you have created, list of cubes you have created, okay, and we have defined the relationships between your dimension and the measure group. Okay, so these are all we will explain. And here if you want to process the cube, now you can see if I go for solution database name and right click, you can see we have one process option is there. Okay, so that is what I'm telling about processing. So we have deploy option, we have process option. Deployment means it will just create a table structure, and process, if you click on process, means it will go and load the data. Okay. So by using this SSIS solution also, we can go and create a cube database. Okay. But again by using SSIS, again we are creating a cube database. Okay. But why? If you are able to create using the SSIS solution, why they have again provided in SSIS? Why? Because okay, the cube database, okay, itself cannot be refreshed automatically. Okay, the cube database cannot be loaded with data automatically. It cannot contain the live data, so it won't contain the live data. Okay, now let us see. Okay, now it won't contain the live data. So let us say this is a SSIS cube database. Okay, suppose today you let us say this is a cube database and this is SQL. So this is the front end application. Let us say some ICICI Bank website. Okay, so this website is In the back end, it is linked to this SQL database, which contains the live transactions data. So which contains the live data. Okay, but we don't link our applications to the Cube databases directly. Okay, so this Cube database, okay, it won't contain the live data. It will contain the historical data. Okay, so using the SSIS solution, okay, so we are getting the data from SQL database, okay, and we are loading it to the Cube database. Once we click on process, once we click on process option, okay, so it will get the data from SQL database and load it into the Cube database. Okay, now if you don't process it for 1 year, okay, so this Cube database will still have the last year data. Okay, the live data which will contain the today's up to the data up to the today's date, but until if you don't click process for 1 year, this Cube database will still contain only the data up to last year. Okay, until unless you click on process, your Cube data won't load with the latest data. Okay, so how you can process? We have to go to the SSIS solution. How we will process? We have to go to the SSIS solution. Okay, so we have to go to the SSIS solution. We have to go to the everyday. If you want to process it every day some person should be there to go and process it. Okay, suppose if you want to process, if you want to fill the Cube data by every 1 hour, so every 1 hour you need to fill the latest data. Then there should be one person and he needs to process it every 1 hour. He needs to click on process for every 1 hour. Okay, so if he forgot, then it won't get load. It won't get loaded with the date. It won't get loaded with the latest date. Okay, so instead of, so in order to automate this processing purpose, okay, in order to automate this processing option, okay, in order to automate this means, automation means if you want to create a job, okay, to process the Cube database, if you want to create a job to process the Cube database, then in order to create a job, then they have provided this option in the SSIS. Okay, we can call a SSIS job. We can call a SSIS task from a job. Okay, so why they have provided this option on SSIS again is why, because we can schedule a task here. So we can call that Cube database and we can process the Cube database, and this task I can schedule under a SQL Server agent job. Okay, in order to do that automation process, in order to process your Cube database at a particular period of time, okay, or at a particular interval. Okay, so in order to automate this processing option, okay, they have provided this task here in the SSIS. Okay, so we can create a task like this and we can call this task, that processing task, the SQL Server agent. Now you can go and see. Go to this SQL Server agent. Okay, now you can see here the SQL Server. Okay, we have one SQL Server agent is there where we can create a jobs. Now let me go and create a new job. And here you can go and see that. Let me give some name. So let us say SSIS Q process job. Q process job. Okay. Now let me go to the steps. Now let me click on new step. So this is how we can create a job. Let me click on new step. Okay. Now let us give some step name as step 1. Okay. Now you can see here what type of job you want to create. You want to create a job for a SQL query or for a SQL server. You can see SSIS packages. If you want to create a job for a SQL server SSIS package, I can go and select this package. Okay, so which package you want to execute? So you can go and select. Okay, using I want to execute an automated package here, and that package is present in which database? That is SSIS catalog. Okay, so where we can deploy this our solution. Okay, SSIS solutions. So we'll deploy this under one integration services catalog. You can see we have one catalog folder is there. So in this location we'll deploy all our SSIS solutions. So that is the name for that SSIS catalog. Okay, now go to the configuration, or here you can see this SSIS catalog is present in which server. What is your server name? Okay, so this SSIS package is present in which server? You can go and specify the server name as Balaji-PC. Now let us go and specify select the Balaji-PC, and under that server which package you want to automate. You can go and select the package name here. So under that server, how many packages is there? So now you can see under the integration services catalog, under this catalog, we have an SSIS database. Under this, we have one of the database, let us say one of the solution name as, so let us say SSIS, uh, whatever it is. Okay, let us take any one of these things, SSIS Sapna. Under this, we have one of the processing task, that is, let us say analysis services TTL task, and we have one more. So let us say that one of the processing task is there. Okay, under this only we have called. Now you can see. So this is the task I want to automate it. Okay. So let us assume this is a processing task. Let me select all. Okay. Now we can go and select the advanced option and on success. Go to next step. Then go to here. Click on OK. We have created a step 1. Okay. Now the connection issue is there. So in this solution we have used might be another connection. So let me go for SSIS shake. So let us see, do we have any analysis services task is there? So let us assume that this is the processing task of your cube database. Okay. So we can go and select that particular task. Click on OK, and you can go on. Now you can see that after clicking that, click on OK. Now the step 1 is created, and so I am calling this processing task to process the cube database. And let us say if you want to call it every 1 hour. Now you can go to the next one, schedules, and you can click on new option, and you can schedule the timing here. Let us say schedule 1 SCH1. Okay, so do you want to execute this processing task multiple times? Yes, that is recurring and occurs at either weekly or daily. If it is daily, so occurs at every 1 day, or frequency you can go and specify occurs at every 1 hour or 2 hour or 3 hours. For every 3 hours, if I want to process this, execute this task, okay, we can go and create a job like this. Okay, so first of all, we are creating a SSIS package. Under this SSIS package, by using this processing task, you are processing the queue. Okay, means processing the queue means filling the queue with the latest data. Okay, and this task we are automating it inside a job. This task we are calling inside a job and we are automating it. So because of that purpose, they have provided this option. Okay, we cannot directly go and process the queue. We can not directly go and create a job on a queue. Okay, so because of that reason, they have provided this processing task in the SSIS. Yes. We can create a processing task and we can call this processing task of the job. So that for every 3 hours or 2 hours, this task will execute, and inside this task, we are processing the queue database. Okay, like that. Understood? So this is about the analysis services DDL task and the processing task. Okay, let's start now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.